Join the hosts Freddie and Blake for a glimpse into the extraordinary lives of ordinary humans. Each week, they explore the amazing and complex world of humans by interviewing a guest with a unique and interesting story that they can learn from. Freddie and Blake's goal is to shine a light on the lives of the ordinary folk and show the world how extraordinary their lives can be. We learn from other humans, grow from other humans, and share stories from all walks of life.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We did it. Oh my
We're here.
gosh.
We made it.
We made it. All right.
Happy January 2023, right?
January 2023. Time is flying by. I'm kind of freaking out. I'm going to be 29 this year.
Wow.
Old man.
A month away. I know. Dude, I got my first gray hair.
We were talking about gray hairs.
I got a lot of gray hair.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm getting old.
It's true.
You have a long way to catch up to me, big dog. I got like gray hairs in my eyebrow, so you're good.
Okay.
Silver
look
Fox
good.
is in.
Yeah, I know.
True.
There you go. I'm going to dye my gray hair.
There you go.
It's under my control.
Really?
Like, I
That's
get
right.
to decide it. No, I love
right.
that. We're actually super, super pumped about this episode.
We are.
And let's go ahead and introduce our lovely and talented guest. Today's guest is Shaz, an up-and-coming Austin, Texas-based singer-songwriter,
Amen.
originally from South Florida.
Originally from South Florida.
So she recently released her debut EP, Inside Out, which you can check out on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud too, I'm sure, right? Everywhere.
All the things.
We're going to include a link for it in our description. I'll share it out on our social media as well. It's honestly, truly amazing. Both of her songs have kind of blown up. She just released it and she already has more than 20,000 monthly listeners. And I swear, I looked at it yesterday and it was at 19,000. So she's really blowing up.
Yeah.
But we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. I want to start off by really talking about your name.
Okay.
Shaz. I know that's not your real name,
Yes.
but it is based on your real name.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did that come about?
Yes, so my original last name is Shazadian. And when my family moved to America, they changed it to Shazade. And I was one of many Lindsays growing up, and I wanted a cooler nickname, so I went with Shaz. That was my dad's nickname when he was growing up, and so I was like, let's keep it rolling. Give it to me.
and then now it's a really good artist name.
Yes, we've come full circle. I did go, by Lindsay, which is my first name for like my professional life, but it's fun to spice it up when we're not at work and we're doing fun, creative things.
Yeah, I love that. I was mentioning to you off air, Shaz is kind of like a very close name to my family. It's my aunt's name that passed away. She was like a little sister, or not little sister, like a older sister. We're only a few years apart, but it's such a beautiful name too.
Yeah.
So I love that you picked it. I was like, oh my gosh, I wanna have her on the podcast. So, you mentioned you're from South Florida. What part?
I am from Delray Beach. It's like half an hour north of Fort Lauderdale. Like small beach town, very fun, very relaxed. I grew up like a block from the beach, going to the beach constantly, no sunblock, baking. I don't want to know what's going to come from that.
Stuff.
Not good stuff, but great memories. I absolutely love South Florida.
Yeah, I'm from Florida myself. From
Oh, really?
Jacksonville.
Oh my gosh.
Not
okay,
as nice
cool.
as South Florida.
Jacksonville is its own vibe,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's its own vibe.
That's a nice way to describe
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Are you like as into key lime pie as I am, because the Keys and South Key, right?
I do love the Keys.
Okay.
I do not like key lime pie.
Okay.
I'm not into the tart.
Okay.
The tart flavor.
Lemon bars and key lime pie are my favorite, which, hey, it's not everybody's flavor,
Someone's
but
got to do it.
yeah,
I appreciate you.
I'm going to do it.
He's keeping the key lime pie business
There you
in
go.
for.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? $1 billion business, and it's all.
That.
Is it
It's all
really?
him. No, I don't
Mostly
know. I
comes
just
from me.
guessed. No, that's awesome. So South Florida. Let's kind of take it even step back, right, and like go back in history. Rewind a little bit.
Okay.
I did a little bit of creeping
Right.
on your Instagram, and I saw the Armenian flag. So I'm guessing you're Armenian, especially with the last name you mentioned.
Yes. So my dad is 100% Armenian, and all of my family in Massachusetts is Armenian, and I absolutely have loved learning about Armenian history. I've been taking it really seriously the past year and just understanding everything that culture was about and why we're in America and what my family's personal history was. There's definitely a lot of incredibly strong, independent women that are the reason why we're here.
Really?
And that were incredibly accomplished when they came here and did amazing things for their community. So it's been so cool to learn about that and understand why encompassing that type of persona is really important to me and carrying on that legacy. And yeah, so it's been awesome.
I love that. Can you give us an example of one of these women or several of them?
Yeah,
like how they've became independent, and because they sound like amazing people.
Yeah, so Dr. Auntie was my dad's aunt, and she actually came over from Turkey before the Armenian Genocide happened. She got accepted into an American missionary program in Armenia. I think they took her to Syria for the program, and she was educated, got a college degree, and because of that degree was able to move to Boston, where she became a governess and started saving up money to bring her siblings and her family over here.
What's a governess?
I think it's like a nanny, basically.
Okay, a governess.
Like
okay.
a housekeeper nanny.
Yeah, okay.
Type thing. Like, have you ever seen The Sound of Music?
Yes.
She's like a governess.
And what year is this about?
She came over in 1910.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why I was thinking 1980s.
That's her dad, you know?
Yeah, and she went to Tufts Medical School here. And got a master's degree and then dedicated the next 50 years of her life to serving the community in Boston, underprivileged, poor communities. She actually was recognized as Man of the Year.
Really?
By the governor of Boston.
What?
So she's super cool. She played a huge role in raising my grandmother, Anne, who also got a bachelor's and a master's degree. She, at 23, started the speech and hearing program at the Children's Hospital in Boston, and she's the one that authored all of the diagnostic tests that are used in all 50 states and 20 different countries.
Wow.
For speech pathology, so badass women.
Yeah,
Real.
no
For sure,
kidding.
which is very cool.
Yeah.
It says they set a high standard, and
They
then I'm
did.
sure that was, like you said, a big reason for you to push yourself. And
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think it just set the tone, like, in our family with both the men and the women in our family, that women are extremely strong and capable and providers and supportive of, like, whatever it is that you want to accomplish.
So I talked to Freddie about this a lot because of, like, you know, he's an immigrant. His parents he grew up all the way through 13, right? In Uzbekistan.
Yep.
Wow.
And his dad, you know, was a professional. His mom was a professional. They came over here, and unfortunately, like, their professions didn't translate because it's from that country.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that I have noticed from, like, the vast majority of immigrants is they fucking work so hard.
For sure.
Is
They
that
have
like
a massive
the biggest
purpose for being here.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was like the driving force for your ladies to just like not stop? You know, because a lot of us, like, we get to a goal and it's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, this is as far as I want to go.
Yeah, I think they had a lot of motivation. I think the members of my family that made it over here, it was literally for survival. And so it was like, you know, the Armenian Genocide happened, the ones that didn't make it here.
I don't know anything about that as a white Texas dude that was born in '83. I don't know anything about the Armenian Genocide.
Yeah.
What was that about?
I'm definitely still learning a lot about it.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, basically before the Holocaust, where, you know, like the Germans had the Jewish genocide, there was a very similar situation that Hitler actually claimed to, like, learn a lot of his tactics from the Armenian Genocide, where they were trying to wipe Armenians off the face of the planet. And so the stories that I know are relevant to, like, my dad's grandfathers. So one of them was working in, like, a Turkish market, and it was a Turkish store owner, and the soldiers were coming through Eintub trying to find Armenians and stabbing them and burning them alive and shooting them and killing them. And he came into the market, and the Turkish store owner was like, get the fuck out of here. This is my son. Like, this is not an Armenian. He has nothing to do with this, and got him on a boat the next day out of Aleppo to America, and all of his siblings and his parents were murdered.
Oh my God.
And then on my dad's mom's side, like I had mentioned, Dr. Auntie actually ended up coming over before 1915 when the Armenian Genocide started. But her brother, my dad's grandfather, was still in Armenia, and he was with his parents, and his mom walked him from, I want to say it was from Harput to Aleppo across like 2 mountains. It took a week, and she actually died on the walk.
Wow.
Because she gave him all of the food and water to like essentially make it that far.
Damn.
And so he came and joined Dr. Auntie here. But yeah, super tragic and very sad. So I think by the time the ones that made it to America got here, it was literally to like have it all count for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, what a big motivator it is, right? Watching your family member give their food, their water to you so that you can survive, and then they don't.
Yeah.
And then if you don't take advantage of the opportunity that's available to
For
you,
sure.
it's like you're spitting in their face.
1000%.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. The craziest thing that I know about Armenian genocide is it's actually not recognized by a lot of countries, unfortunately, like Turkey
Really?
still
Yes.
to this day.
Really?
To this day, with all
Absolutely
the fucked up shit that they
refuses.
did, bro.
What?
Yeah, actually, America didn't recognize it until, I want to say 2 years ago. Biden was the first president to recognize it on the 105th, I think it was, anniversary. The day that they recognized it is actually the day that I got the tattoo of our original Armenian last
beautiful.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we see it?
Yeah, of course.
You show it to the. Oh, look at that. So
It's actually in my dad's handwriting.
so no president before Biden recognized it.
Nope.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, lots of political, like, what is it called, where you're just trying to keep the peace
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
it
Because
doesn't
like
affect money.
Turkey, like Turkey's a big ally, kind of,
Yeah.
to the United States.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you recognize it, and then you're basically creating a strife between the two countries. And
Yeah,
then
that shit, right.
now they're gonna start leaning towards Russia helping them out. It's
That's
all
so
ridiculous.
fucking sad.
Yes.
Well, the sadness to me comes from the fact that it's like we're humans, and like I never understood like genocide, and obviously like I don't want to paint all Turkish people as bad.
No,
In
they're
fact,
not.
I'm part Turkish, so
For sure. There's a reason why we're here from
yeah.
some Turkish people, like my family specifically.
Yep.
So,
like a guy that owned the store,
Yeah,
right,
the
was
Turkish
able to
store.
help your family member. But like for me, it just never made sense. Is like we're all going through this life,
yeah.
through this experience together, and
Yeah.
then blaming, Armenians or Jewish people or
Yeah.
blacks or whatever, and saying that, oh, they're the reason for our, issues that we're experiencing.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and kill them. Like it just never fucking made sense to me. I wonder what creates that, crazy mindset.
Well, I don't. I
Million-dollar
mean,
question.
they're like primatologists who look at the way that like primates interact with each other, and it is like a very animalistic human. We think that we're conscious humans. I'm a conscious sentient thing that gets to control myself, but yet a lot of times we have anger and rage that control us, or we have addictions that control us, or we have whatever. We have all these chemicals that are going on in our brains that really control us.
Yeah.
And like fear is a big thing.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to take control of something, all I have to do is tap into your fear receptors, and then and say that I'm the person who's going to take care of you and mitigate that fear, and then all of a sudden I'm empowered to go and do my thing. And yeah, politics, and this is one of the things that we don't really like to talk too much about, except for the fact that it affects every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
And I know that we're a bit sheltered here in America, thankfully. But, like in other parts of the world, you're not sheltered, dude. Like he talked about some of his family in Afghanistan were, murdered because of some political things. And it's like, dude, that's not something that we ever have to deal with over here.
Yeah. The world is a big place, and there's a lot of different things that I have no perspective or understanding on, and definitely am grateful to be here. And even though there's fucked up stuff that happens here, comparatively, I don't even know really where like how bad it gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to bring it back to specifically to your family, right? Me being from Uzbekistan, like I grew up with a lot of Armenians. Like my best friends growing up were Armenians, and it's just I know the culture is very similar in a sense. Sometimes, not always, parents can be pretty strict.
Yeah.
Right? Did they have high expectations? Did they have high expectations of you, or like a lot of like, hey, you know, you gotta be within this little box?
Yeah, my parents are like extremely supportive, very loving, extremely strict. Like for sure, I grew up not at, like, again, I've met people in my life where I'm like, wow, it was not that strict. Like I was not that sheltered, but I certainly was. And I'm the type of person that really wants to like exceed people's expectations, especially people like your parents, right? Where you like want their validation. So there were certainly lots of things I went for and committed to and tried really hard at to make them proud. So yeah, they were strict. You know, my dad is Armenian, my mom's not Armenian, and I would argue that my mom is like 5 billion times more strict than my dad.
Really?
Where's your mom from?
My mom is like Irish, German, like classic. Who the fuck knows what she is? Some mix of white and she just like wants the best for my sister and I. But yeah, she was pretty hardcore, which I appreciate looking back. It taught me a lot. But like, for example, like I wanted to play the piano when I was 5. Like I came across the keyboard, I was like, this shit is awesome. I want to do this. And as soon as I started lessons and she bought me the first piano, she was like, I'm not going to buy this for you unless you're going to commit to doing this until you graduate from high school. And you say that to a 7-year-old and they're like, sure.
Yeah.
And I had to play an hour a day. She had this kitchen timer. I had to sit there. There was like no budging on that whatsoever. I was classically trained for the first like 7 years that I played the piano. There was like so much like focus and determination and training that went into it, which was awesome, and I'm very grateful for it. But she was like, there is no budget on this, and that is one example.
Do you still play?
I do.
Well, and did that like kind of lay the groundwork for where you're living right now in your musical career?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Nothing gives me more peace than sitting at a piano and like getting lost in playing, for sure. And I think anyone who plays an instrument, definitely anyone who plays the piano, there's like this phase that you cross from when you go from intermediate to advanced where you're like, fuck this. I do not want to do this anymore. I hate this. It's so hard. Why am I sitting here? And when you get past whatever that up step is to the next level, it like literally changes your life. And it's such a beautiful thing. I'm really, really so appreciative to know how to play and all of the things that it really taught me. Like, it taught me how to read music, to stay determined, to push through something, to get frustrated but not give up. And, you know, when you're learning classical piano, it's obviously so beautiful and so peaceful, and it like becomes muscle memory in a way when you play something so much.
But it's also very strict.
Yes.
Like at the timing and all the notes and like the, like you have like these notes they either like punch or they kind of come in on the back end.
Yeah.
Like there's all of this little nuance, especially on the piano, especially on the classical piano. So like you talked about like, you know, really having to work through some things. Like you could be working through like a couple little like bars or whatever for like a week just to get it down right?
Yes. 100%. I love to learn by listening too, so I'll listen to the song like religiously and then sit there and figure it out and read the music and really get it right. But there's like nothing more rewarding than like finally figuring it out. Yeah. And being able to play it and then, you know, have people be like, holy shit.
So
I wish we had a piano here right now.
I know, right? I was going to say like maybe we're going to like get some musicians in and out of Humans Nextdoor and like that room over there. We'll set some stuff up.
For sure.
But okay, so this is a little bit off topic, and sorry, mom and dad. Have you ever played the piano on psychedelics?
I have not. I definitely get high as fuck often on marijuana, and I love playing high.
Dude, come on.
But not psychedelics.
Is that experience a little bit different than playing sober?
It's funny because if I sit there long enough and I'm like really in like a raw and vulnerable place, that alone will get me high. Playing and singing and like letting something like literally come from your soul like that. But if I get high before I do it, normally it will just get me there a lot faster.
Exactly. I've been playing music since I was 16 years old, and
nice.
I don't know how to like read music. All I know is A, C, G, F. Like that's the only reading I can do. So I learned by listening and learned by imitation. Okay, so this G and there's these different. So you listen and then you emulate, and then you get to kind of like make it your own.
For sure.
But all that time it was in the church, and there's like no marijuana. There's no psychedelics.
No marijuana in the church.
None of that stuff. Even though maybe Jesus smoked a little bit. I don't know.
It is natural.
He was a yogi, or at least people say that. But I can legitimately say that whenever I started getting high around 30, I was like, this is what it feels like to be lost in worship.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like to be connected to whatever some people call the Holy Spirit, to whatever some people call, maybe Gaia is what they're talking about too. Like whatever that energy is that we're connecting to, like that meditative state. And like, I don't know if some people can't feel what I can feel and what other, musicians can feel, but you can just get high.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, runner's high is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe it's that. Maybe that's what's going on in the head.
Piano high. Just play long enough.
Baby. All day.
I love it. Do you have any siblings, by the way?
I do.
Sister.
I have an older sister.
Yeah.
She's 7 years older.
Okay.
We are complete opposites.
Okay.
Love her a lot. She is like so nice, so giving. She's definitely like someone who loved the strict environment, where I think I probably pushed against it more aggressively. But she's awesome. She's dedicated her career to philanthropic work. She worked for Make-A-Wish for like 10 years.
Nice.
Oh.
And now she works for Best Buddies. And
What's Best Buddies?
I don't want to butcher it, but it's like...
Google it.
Yeah, it's like a philanthropy for disabled
Oh, nice.
kids. I think it's mainly kids. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is super cool. And it's amazing that like your parents must be proud of both of you guys. Like you guys both took two different routes.
Yes.
Obviously philanthropy is great, amazing. But I mean, I look at you, 27 years old. We're just talking about the fact that you bought your house, right?
Yeah.
You have a good job. Like from the outside, like just looking in, it seems like you have your shit together, which a lot of 27-year-olds can't say that. So that's super, super proud, super exciting. Like, do they, like growing up as well, I don't know about like Armenian culture and at depth like that, but I know holidays can be different for Uzbek families, right? Like there's certain things we do that's, people come in from, like if American families join us, they're like, oh, that's like so unique and different. Like, do you guys have anything like that as well?
Yeah, I think like my upbringing was definitely very Americanized. And although we certainly like participate a lot in like Armenian culture things and especially like Armenian food.
Which is delicious, by the way.
It is delicious. Armenians were the first Christian nation. So like everything that we do. Yeah, or they were the first to claim Christianity.
Interesting.
As their religion. So everything that we did growing up was like very Christian, very religious in that context. Like lots of church on Wednesdays, church on Sundays, volunteer here, there.
So were you like in one of the youth? Were you one of the youth group kids who like? I'm here because my parents are making me come here, or were you were you into it? Because some of them that grow up in a family that has, they're very committed.
Yeah.
They're very committed too, just naturally. But a lot of them are like, this is fucking stupid. I want to be hanging out with my friends.
Yeah. I was definitely like, grew up in a Christian private school. Like everything was like Christianity all the way. And I think as a kid, I was like just going through the motions. And then when I hit like middle school, high school, my mom would like make me like take notes during the sermons, and we'd have to like talk about it after. And I think through, which I love journaling, but I think through that, obviously you get more committed to it and it becomes more of like a facet of who you are. And then when I was in high school, some like weird stuff happened in the church, like with the church that we are going to. And I was just like, I really don't love that. And you just forget that, like, especially when you're a kid and everything is rose-colored glasses and you're like, oh, these people can do no wrong. And then you realize that they're humans, and just because you're sitting there taking every word that's coming out of their mouth and treating it like it's like Jesus himself doesn't mean that you should treat it that way. And I think that took like a hard right for me when I went to college, where I was like, I'm just gonna like take a break from this.
Let's talk about that. Like going into college, did you go to college in Florida or?
I did. I went to the University of Florida.
Oh yeah,
all those years. Go Gators. Yes, I went there for my bachelor's and my master's degree in international business. And
why business? Is that something you want? Like you were interested in? Did you jump around from like one major to another before picking that? Or?
I switched my major once. My parents were pissed. They were like,
what did you start off with?
I started off in business. I do love business. Business comes extremely naturally to me. I did a lot of business classes in high school. I am like a salesperson in my core. Like every sales job I've ever had has been so fun, very successful. So I'm super grateful for that. So business was awesome. I don't feel like I felt super mentally challenged by it because it felt like it was such like a natural thing. You know, it's not like finance where you have to like figure. I mean, I guess it's kind of a portion of it, but not really what I was doing. So yeah, college, even though I came out of it with the degrees and the good GPA, that is not what I remember from college. So,
well, UF is a big party school.
Yeah.
So is that what you're implying?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, all that strict upbringing went right the fuck out the window when I got to college. It was like one extreme to the other. For sure. Oh my God, so many cringy memories that I have deeply suppressed. So.
Well, I mean, listen, we all like, there is this whole pendulum thing. And whenever you were talking about your experience of taking the words that come out of these humans' mouths as if it's from God.
Right.
I mean, and then you see the humanity in it and it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
Is this like reality?
Yeah.
Because man, like they tell you from the time you're a kid, emulate Jesus. Well, what did Jesus do? He loved people. He took care of people. He even said, I know that I'm God, but I didn't come to judge you.
Yeah.
And then like you grow up and you start serving or you start like really kind of seeing behind the veil.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, these are just human beings
For sure.
trying their best, and some of them maybe not trying their best.
Yeah. And I do agree, like, with the concept that community is important.
Yeah, me too.
But I just think for me personally, like, I'm more of a spiritual person. I really like spending the time one-on-one. Like, I do, like, love the foundation of Christianity and all the stories and what they mean and what they stand for and how that impacts, like, you know, how you should live your life.
Right.
But I like experiencing that one-on-one and then finding people that outside of that are like-minded to me and we get to talk about it instead of it necessarily being like I don't want to like offend people that like go to church, but like essentially like a performance, you know?
It is, dude. It is. And I wish my wife, I can't wait until my wife listens to this because you're saying some shit that we've been like talking forever. You know, we don't want to offend people who go to church and who are Christians because, hey, it's awesome. It really is awesome.
To each their own.
Yeah. But also like, you know, sometimes church isn't helpful. You know, sometimes going to yoga class and doing community there is actually more helpful for you living a healthy, loving life.
Yeah.
A lot of times people, they put on a bit of a performance and then really like Alan Turpin said, they're living quiet, like moments of quiet desperation. They're living lives with these like, and it's like, you know, why are you trying so hard to put up a facade? Why don't you just be you?
Just be authentic.
Which I think is like like multiple religions, multiple things. It's like not even about church. That can be literally about
it can happen anything. You can have a hobby, right? You can be really into Pokemon card trading. I don't know if that's actually like, but I mean, I'm sure people, but like that's one of the things that I absolutely loved about like living in Austin is it gives that space for people to be authentic. And I mean, what's the motto? Like, keep Austin weird, right? And, you know, people say like, oh, the city has changed. But no, like you can go out with half-shaved head, rest of your head is, you know, sideways mohawk. Yeah. And, you know, have a suit on with, you know, Crocs and like no one's going to bat an eye. It's like, oh, that's Austin, right? And
so true.
That's what probably like, actually you mentioned this as well. Like you've been finding a lot of really authentic connections living here, right?
For sure. I think like my favorite part about Austin is that it's like you're saying, like so expressive. And so for me, heading into like a phase in my life where I'm trying to be really raw and vulnerable and authentic and surround myself with people that way, there just is no other place I could imagine being where it would be that easy. Like, you go to any open mic, you go to any anything, you go to any event here, and it's people that are just being like so vulnerably themselves without batting an eye at it. And that was a hard place for me to get to, and I'm like so in the thick of it right now that being able to go and watch people do that is like inspiring and gives me like a comfort and a confidence in continuing to try to do the same thing.
I love that. And what was your journey leading up from like college? You graduated. You said you got your degree in international business from UF.
Yes.
Did you just move straight to Austin, or was there stuff in between?
No, I actually moved home for a short stint because I did not want to look for jobs while I was still in college, and loved being home. But I was like, okay, it's time to look for jobs.
Mom's cooking can only go so far.
Yeah, she's a great cook. Love you, Mom. Yeah. But yeah, I ended up getting this job at an IT research company. I like never really thought about doing sales specifically, but I was like, fuck it, let's try it. And because it was IT research, I liked the idea of putting into practice like a lot of the education that I had just spent years like really trying to soak in. And started in that role, sold my first deal in training. I was the first one to sell a deal. The next 3 years, I just absolutely freaking murked it
Nice.
at that company, saved as much money as I possibly could, and then got real sick of where I was living and moved to Dallas.
Dallas.
What
was that like?
You know, Dallas was, in my personal opinion, an upgrade from the town in Florida that I was moving from. And Dallas is cool, like great restaurants, like great bars, social scene, definitely the priority. And that was fun for like the time that I was there. And then the pandemic hit, and the guy I was dating at the time is from Austin. So he was like, let's go check Austin out and I'll show you around. And we were here, and I was like, why the hell are we in Dallas?
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Was that, you said pandemic hit, so you moved here 2019.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I moved to Austin 2020.
2020.
Yeah,
okay.
September 2020.
Yeah, like a year after me.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm actually moving to Dallas in March.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you know where you're going to live?
Not yet. I think there's a apartment complex called 12 on Frisco.
Okay.
That's where the Dallas
Frisco's
Cowboys practice field is.
Yeah.
Someone recommended that, so maybe that. But honestly, I have no idea. I'm going in. I know nothing about the city. Dude, it's a huge city.
Huge.
Frisco, they're building out a lot too. There's a lot
Yeah.
of new stuff in Frisco.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, worst comes worst, I'll sleep out of my car for a year.
Yeah, exactly. Like
You
like a
know.
true salesman.
Yeah, just,
You know?
just save money, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
No, Dallas is exciting. Okay, so you end up moving to Austin, and then, like, sales was like your primary focus, or did you try to deviate from that into some other careers? Because I know a lot of salespeople, they believe in themselves so much, they're like, well, I can go do something else.
Yeah. I loved sales because I made a lot of money.
Yeah. That's always nice.
Yeah, so
It helps.
I do love that aspect of it. I think it's challenging. I definitely think it gives you the confidence, especially when you're being successful at it, that you can do anything. Because everything is about like interacting with people and getting on the same page to agree on something. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think like subconsciously I probably ended up in Austin because of the music. I think like I grew up wanting to be a musician. Like I wanted that to be my career. I wanted to be an entertainer. I think I was allowed to have that as a hobby, but not necessarily like as something to pursue right off the bat. That was not strongly encouraged. So I think that's why I went so far into like the education side of things, which I love learning, and I would not change a single thing how I've done it in my life. But it's been until recently that I'm like, I'm a salesperson, but I don't want to be a salesperson. And I've always wanted to be a musician. And I think when you like separate that from your identity for so long, then it's like such a mental battle to then be like, I can be that. I can be more than one thing. I can do what I want to do. It's not too late. I didn't have to start doing this 10 years ago.
Yep. In fact, if you did, you may have been more fucked up. How many
Yeah, sure.
younger girls and younger guys get into the music
For
industry and it fucks them up.
100%. I think, especially like today where there's just like so many eyes on everything that you're doing and so much judgment. I know that I would have struggled with that when I was still figuring myself out, just based on how I know I'm still figuring myself out now.
Right.
And a lot of pressure from society for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that social media was not a thing when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Me too, dude. I'd fucking kill myself.
Dude,
buck teeth and
I would embarrass. There's a lot of things that I don't want to say regrets, but like I look back and I was like, geez.
Oh,
I'm glad people don't know about that.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm so happy there's no paper trail of quite a few things for sure.
But if you're in front of the eyes and you have the spotlight on, it's different. But let's kind of bring it back to the present day, right? So now you're the successful senior salesperson at a big company.
Yeah.
And you have your music thing that's really blossoming and starting up, and you're doing really well there.
Yeah.
What's like a typical day for you? And like, do you have any hobbies outside of those two things?
Yeah. So a typical day, I love to start with my coffee. I'm addicted. And the past 6 to 8 months, I've been trying to immediately read a chapter in a book while I'm having my coffee, and then do like daily gratitude just to start my day off in a strong mindset.
Quick, which book?
Which book?
Yeah, which book are you reading a chapter in?
So I started with Ask and It's Given, and then I love The Alchemist.
Alchemist is so good. It's like my top 3 favorite.
100%. It really doesn't get better than that. Like the 7 something of success, the 4 Agreements.
4 Agreements is so good. Come on, girl. Keep going.
They're great. I just read Island by Aldous Huxley, I think is how you say his name.
I've gotten that one recommended, but I haven't read it.
That one is cool because it's like a story, which I like switching it up from like the like self-help type.
Yeah.
Talking to like more of like a poetic story. And the way that book was written was like addicting. I wrote down so many quotes from it. I just thought it was so beautifully written. So I highly recommend that one for sure.
The Island by
Aldous Huxley, I think. I could butcher that.
I think tough name to pronounce.
I know, It's got like a U in there somewhere, but I think it's Aldous.
Aldous,
Aldous Huxley.
There we go.
That's That's a pretty busy morning schedule. I mean, so over the last year, there's a lot I had to learn about myself.
Yes.
And about 4 months ago, 4.5, almost 5 months ago now, wow, time's flying by, I made a decision to like stop partying, stop going out, really, get my life together. And part of my routine has been, wake up, I try to, do my meditation for 10 minutes. I write down and like journal for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I go work out. It doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
Right? Just because like I have to give myself 2.5 hours in the morning before my day gets started so I can accomplish all these things.
Yeah.
And like, seems like you've been doing this pretty regularly. Like, what time are you waking up and how are you able to accomplish so much?
So I do not set an alarm.
What? Yeah.
Don't set an alarm. I'm super lucky to have complete autonomy over my calendar. So I have hours during the day where I'm working, and before that, I'm not. And after that, I'm not.
Damn.
So yeah, I just found that like an alarm obviously was starting me off like kind of panicked every morning.
Yeah.
I'm like a morning person, so I'll get up by like 8 naturally.
Yeah.
And then I'll take from like 8 to 9 to do, they're usually like short chapters. So it'll be like the chapter, the gratitude, the coffee. And then I'll start working from there. But yeah, I'm super, super lucky to have like that much control over it.
Well, and like, so it's weird to think that we would be ever thankful for COVID.
Right.
But one of the great things about COVID is it really shook up industry and made them pivot and like, okay, well, how can we still make our money? Well, our people have to go home and do as much of their job as they can from their house. Okay, let's do it. And they did all the stuff and all the support and all that stuff. And then, okay, cool. We're still we're working, right? The businesses are still, and then it's like, you know what? We don't need to have such a gigantic nut to crack every single month on all of these expenses for these office and like we worked at Cision, and before that it was Trinkite before it got bought out, and I don't know how much money they spent on a weekly basis on all the food, all that kind of stuff. Sure. I think it's been nice to for companies to realize like we can still get the same productivity out of Shaz. Let's just let her stay home.
Yeah, and oftentimes you get more productivity.
For sure. I think like the jobs I have been lucky to work just do not require you to be working 8 hours a day. Like if you work smart and you do the shit you're supposed to do and you do it well, then it just does not physically require that much time. But I'm also just like in a sales job, you know, I'm not like a doctor. Like I'm not like, you know, saving people's lives.
You're also good at it. So you just get done with it much quicker than a lot of other people might, right?
Yeah. So no complaints.
That's awesome. Sure. And all that extra time has probably given you, you know, the freedom to pursue music. Let's talk about that. I mean, when did that revelation happen? The light bulb went off when you're like, you know what? I think it's time for me to do the music. Like, do you remember that day particularly?
For sure. So it was 2019. I was living in Fort Myers, Florida. And I was like, you know, I want to make music. Like, I knew I wanted to make music when I was driving to and from work every day. I was listening to lo-fi songs and just, like, writing lyrics over them, writing, like, melodies. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to create a second Instagram account. I'm not going to tell anybody about it. And I'm just going to post on there and see what happens. And one of the first songs that I actually posted was a Pointy Features song. He's a UK-based lo-fi artist. And it was his song Taming the Bison, and I just posted a snippet of it and tagged him, and he responded, and he was like, this is great. Like, he was so nice. Honestly, he was so helpful. I had 4 billion questions. I knew nothing. He was like, if you want to post this on SoundCloud or whatever, like, you have my full support. He was sending me other instrumentals, and I was so scared to, like, say that I wanted to make music or do anything, that the validation that came from that interaction is what allowed me to, like, take the next step.
Hell yeah.
And took me, like, a really long time to take that step. Like, we went back and forth for a while, and then when the pandemic hit, what I was sending recording-wise, the quality just, like, wasn't it. So by the time we got to Austin, I was like, I'm going to book a studio session. I'm going to do it with, like, a high-quality microphone. We're going to do this the real way. And that just, like, rolled into what the EP is now, so...
Yeah, what is EP? What does that stand for?
It's just a shortened album, basically. There's, like, a valid definition that I do not know what it is, but it's, like, not a full album.
That makes sense. Well, you have, like, 2 songs there, and Blake was talking about, like, he finally got to listen to it today. I've listened to it. I don't know. I probably lost count, which is, and it's like, it's really, really good.
That's really nice.
And I loved it. And I just, like, we added it to the playlist. And, you know, with my job, like, I take the people out, and I've even had people ask me, like, oh, this is a good song. Like, who is it?
That's so nice.
Like, So,
I feel awesome.
What's the meaning behind those 2 songs? Because I will be honest, I tried to listen to it and really understand, but I think I just didn't get it.
So there's technically 3 songs. The third one hasn't come out yet. But the first one, Deadly Baby, so technically the EP itself is called Inside Out. And originally it was just going to be 2 songs. One was going to be called Inside. One was going to be called Out. Like, I really branched out. And Inside is not on the EP. It was like when I was really focused on mental health and I was fucking going through it. And it was just like a very raw recount of my thoughts and emotions at the time. And then Out was like this persona that I wanted to remind myself that I still authentically feel, where it's like I can be independent and strong and confident and not need all this shit, and both things be true. And then Out turned into Deadly Baby, and that's the first song on the EP. So for me, that one is just about, like, acknowledging that I can be fucking badass, and that it's like that is still valid and authentic to how I feel. That one is super fucking fun because I met Dan, who's a saxophonist at an open mic here.
Oh.
Blew my mind, and I was like, this song needs a saxophonist. And so I asked him to be on the song, and he was so nice about it. He came in. That was still my favorite session to this day. I swear to God, my eardrums were, like, out of my body, like, dancing around the studio while he was playing.
That's tight.
Yeah, so that is the first song. The second one, Come On Over, is the one that I wrote with Pointy Features. It was the instrumental of his was Taming the Bison, and that one lyrically, like, I was just having so much fun with it. It like, there's not, like, really, like, a deep meaning to those lyrics. It was more just for fun. And
they flow really well, so I mean, that's important.
Yeah, like, for me, when I heard the instrumental for the first time, I thought about, like, I thought about just like 1960s being in a Cadillac in Austin countryside, top down, hot guy, like total like
hot guy driving me around.
Smoking a J, like just such like a sunshine, like fun vibe. Like that's how I felt when I wrote that one. So I wanted to hopefully like capture it the same way with the lyrics. And then the third one, which I'm being super meticulous about because it's my personal favorite, actually almost didn't happen. All 3 songs were lo-fi tracks that I had found, and I got permission from the first 2 artists to use them. The third one, I like could not get a hold of the guy.
Oh no.
And I fell in love with the song, and I was like, I am so sad we're gonna have to scrap this one. And I was talking to AJMW, who's another UK-based lo-fi artist, that he was the first track that he allowed me to use it, and I was like, I'm just so sad. And he was like, I know the sample, like I'll create the instrumental for you and you can like do your own version of it. So saved the fucking day. Everybody go listen to his music. Really appreciative for him. And so we've just been like basically retracking it from the sample he pulled. For me, I wrote that one like probably in the thickest of like rock bottom of mental health. Like just so much was going on in my life that was extremely difficult to deal with. And I had just gone to my first ACL, actually. I saw Billie Eilish perform, and I fucking love Billie Eilish.
She's amazing, dude.
She's the best. And like one of my favorite parts about her is every single person that watches her shows like is screaming her lyrics back at her. And it's such a cool experience, and she's talked about it at shows and in interviews. And I was sitting on the steps after that first ACL thinking, like, what a fucking crazy experience. And, like, if I'm ever in a position, or even right now, like, what do I need to hear said back to me right now? Mm-hmm. And that was how All Right was born. And so the lyrics are, like, pretty much everything in the depths of my emotions that I need to hear.
Could you tell us, maybe not sing them unless you want to sing them, but could you tell us some of the lyrics?
Yeah, so...
What's the first verse?
Man, I can play it for you, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can
Your
you?
purse
Come
is
on.
actually outside.
Yeah, my purse is outside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. We'll get it. Come on. This is tight. Dude, Billie Eilish is amazing. And talk about, you know, like the value of starting music young, because her and her brother, and like you see what they do now.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple friends who, again, they started music early.
Yeah.
And their ability is just so, it's like, it's next level.
For sure.
You know?
It's amazing what like that support, oh, thank you. What that support can do when you're like a kid, you know?
Yeah.
That's all you want to do. Okay.
Oh, I'm excited.
I know, dude.
Look, I feel special.
I know.
Humans Nextdoor audience gets to listen to this first before it comes out, which is, when is it coming out, by the way?
Hopefully next week it will be wrapped, and then the Friday after that.
Okay, well, maybe it's going to come out at the same time, then never mind.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Do you want me to just literally play it into the mic?
Just into the mic, yeah.
iPhone's tight.
Very cinematic.
Yeah.
I grew up thinking life's a Disney movie in the way. I wonder when we lose the expectation, there's a way for every detail to fall perfectly into a place. We had designated space. If that's the way it works out, I don't think we'd be satisfied. We feel we missed out on the things that change wants us to try. But he really wants complete control to exercise. That's a lot of weight to lay up on your chest at night. I like the balance of response to other energy. Like the way I grow when faced with some uncertainty. Like the lessons learned from those who didn't want to stay. They led me to the people who invest in me today. Times I feel so grateful that it makes me wanna cry. I guess I just get overwhelmed by love from time to time. Serotonin that I feel just bubbles up inside. I hope it reaches you and wraps around your heart and mind. Just remember, everything will
That's Billie Eilish. I love that.
Yeah.
I
That's the
love
thing,
it.
man.
It's when you say cinematic, that's like such a great way to describe it,
Yeah.
especially the intro.
Yeah.
that like with like the really high pitched voice in the background.
Yeah.
Like that it was reminiscent of Billie Eilish's style. But like I love how just smooth and soulful everything is. Yeah, like so it's like what was it, like Nat King Cole and
yes.
Like old school people
Nat
are
King
your
Cole is my absolute favorite of all time. I grew up religiously listening to him. My grandma would play him in the car and like pump the brake to like the beat of his songs. I have great memories to Nat King Cole. But yeah, I love old school music.
Are you trying to embody some of that whenever you're, singing your songs?
I definitely love the musicality of those older artists, like even Etta James, like anybody in that era where it was super powerful, lots of instruments, so much talent, people sharing in that together. Like I definitely, as I go into this next EP, I'm going to try to incorporate a lot more live instrumentals to that still like lo-fi undertone type beat, just because I like to bump to that. But
yeah.
But yeah.
What is lo-fi?
Yeah, I know
it's low fidelity. I know that, but what does it really mean?
Yeah, it's just, to me, what it means is that it's more vibey. It's just like, it's more of that muted, soft undertone where there's typically no vocals on it at all. It's like essentially like study music when you really think about it.
Yeah. It's not a production with the band and all that.
Right.
It's like background music.
Again, I have literally no idea though. We should Google that.
Google it.
It took me forever to say lo-fi instead of lo-fi too. Also, the engineer I was working with was like, get it the fuck together. Okay.
That's awesome. I promise I'm a real artist. I'm a real musician.
I love that. And then what do you envision? Obviously, you have to see where things go, right?
Yeah.
You started off with a big bump, right? Everything's going really, really well. Yeah. Would you want to make this your career, ideally?
I would love to make this my life. Like, I think what I'm trying to focus on with it has nothing to do with the results. Like, the actual process of creating this music and even getting to where I've gotten with it now, where I, like, go into a studio and have that place to be creative and expressive and put something out that essentially is almost like a photo album to me. Like, those are such intimate thoughts, and like I can immediately think about things that I was experiencing when I wrote those songs and recorded them, that for me, I just want to have like a whole montage of that my whole life. And just nothing in general makes me happier than the act of making the music. So
yeah, I love that. A lot of people don't think about how music can be essentially your memory book.
Yeah.
Right? Where when I think of like my memories, I'm like, I'm gonna go through my Instagram real quick, and this photo is when I was going through this, and this photo is when I was traveling here, etc. But when I also hear certain songs, it brings me back to a moment in my life when that song was,
for sure,
had an impact on me, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
My big question that I wanted to ask you, it's like, as you're coming up, what's the biggest challenge you're facing in your current projects that you want to overcome, and maybe you're struggling with, or maybe you are overcoming, you know how to do it, but it's just going to take time?
Yeah. The absolute hardest thing for me is performing live. Like, really? I get terrified by it because I think it's already just taken me so long to claim it as a part of my identity to begin with, then to stand there and you get one take and you get one shot, and it's like, it just, it's hard to be that vulnerable when you're already overthinking people's perception to it, which is why I think for me, I'm trying so hard to focus on not what happens with it and just the process of me doing it, and like what that literally does for my soul and does for my confidence. And so 2023 is the year that I'm going to start performing live.
2023 is open mic night.
Open mic night, baby.
Come on.
Yes.
Well, and you listen to what's the lady? She unfortunately passed away, like literally unfortunately. Back in Black.
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. So whenever you see ladies like that perform, like they're kind of lost.
Yeah.
Like and obviously they will interact with the crowd and things like that, but they're just like embodying the music, right?
For sure. Tosh Sultana does a fucking amazing job of that.
So who?
Tosh Sultana.
Tosh Sultana?
She is on another planet when she's playing. I'm like, I want to go wherever she is right now.
Okay.
Like, it looks so fun and so beautiful, and that is exactly what I'm gonna try to do.
So you're trying to embody that now. Austin is like the live music, quote unquote, which really I think it's Nashville, but live music capital of the world.
Yes.
And hopefully,
Heresy.
Yeah, it's a bit heresy. Hopefully, it's going to shift that way. I mean, we have a lot of media and production and things like that coming to Austin, so maybe it really will be the live music capital of the world for real.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that everybody says is like practice.
Yes.
And then once you're there, fuck it.
For sure.
Like whatever happens, fuck it.
Yeah.
Have you done anything live yet?
I have. I actually did a show with Soul Emotion, who was a band that actually played at the release party. They're awesome. You should listen to their music too. And I've done a few open mic nights.
How did it
For
go?
sure.
What were those jitters, and how many songs in did you have to get before those jitters went away?
Yeah, they were great. I think to get to the point where I was comfortable getting up there, I was like drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And so whenever I'm drinking a lot, I'm trading off the quality of the sound.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
This year is going to be more about doing it sober and like fucking facing it and just getting up there and fucking figuring it out.
Freddie and I have like microdosed psilocybin.
Okay. What is
And
psilocybin?
Psilocybin
Mushrooms.
is magic
Okay.
mushrooms.
Okay, cool.
Right? And now here's the deal. Like a lot of our parents may be like, screw magic mushrooms, screw LSD, screw acid. That's all, hippie horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's like scientists, doctors getting back into it.
Yeah.
And they're using it for like people who are dying of cancer, to help them kind of face that journey of like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Help them to face that head on and kind of have peace from it.
Yeah.
And it's the results have been amazing.
That's cool.
And then in like the techie world in California, a lot of those guys were starting to microdose LSD, microdose psilocybin, because it just kind of brings those ego walls down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Freddie and I both have kind of talked about feeling that as well whenever we're in our sales environment. Like that's kind of happened as well.
It allows
Yeah.
you to be vulnerable without the ego
Yeah.
and really connect and empathize with other
Yeah.
people in a good way. But for me, like with sales especially, like I'm going out, like knocking on people's doors, right?
Yeah.
So I'm back and doing door-to-door sales, which is exciting.
And nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
No, I really mean it. But it allows me to just talk to people.
Yeah,
And I realize they're just like you. They have their own fears,
for sure.
own things that they're self-conscious about, own problems, own dreams and goals, right? And I was like, hey, like we're just human,
Yeah.
right? And obviously that's different than going up in front of 100 people, 50 people on
Yeah.
an open mic night, but
sure.
the concept still I think applies. So maybe it's something you can like try out.
Listen, I'll never knock anything.
And it helps. It helps like it's a lot different than the slur words of
Yes.
the drinking.
drinking,
So
yeah.
Drinking and we don't get along super well.
Yeah. Well, right now you're doing the sober January.
I am.
How's that going?
It's
we're 7 days in.
we're
This is
7
day 8.
days in. I have one slip. Okay, but you slip, you fall, you get back. It's dry January. We experienced one light hurricane. And that was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Hurricanes come and they go.
That's right. That's right. Hey, His grace is new every morning.
You know what?
Right?
Yeah.
Come on, Jesus.
Come on, Jesus. Yeah, I would love to I just think it's been this sounds so fucked up, but I think it's been a long time since I have been sober, sober. So I almost just want to see what happens when I face it sober like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's amazing. I will say, and I've been that guy. Like people talk about oh, how do you know someone's vegan or how do you know someone does CrossFit? Like they'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
Right. I've been the sober guy for last 4 or 5 months, and not to say I've drank. Occasionally you'll go out, you'll drink, and then next day I'm like, oh, that's why I wasn't drinking.
For sure. So much time is lost and wasted. I get debilitating hangovers. I am literally immobile
Comatose.
for literally 10 hours. I lose a whole day. The whole next day
Yeah.
is gone.
And then even the following days too. I mean, that's getting back into the gym and making that part of my routine, like I lost 20, 30 pounds over the and like that's not the weight that I wanted to lose because I'm already small. Like I work hard to build up the muscle mass. And then through the last couple of years, with COVID and everything, like I lost that. So getting that back, and you start making progress.
Yeah.
And then you go out, you have one night when you drink and you party till 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, now I have 4 days of just trying to recover, get back to where I was last week.
Yes.
So that's always tough. But no, I recommend it. You're doing great, and I'm gonna keep rooting for you in the corner. That sounded kind of.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna be the cheerleaders with pom pom.
That's right.
And the last question that we want to ask you about, the music.
Yeah.
In this short amount of time that you've been doing this, right? Well, obviously you've been doing it for a while.
Well, yeah.
But with this, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned that maybe you can pass on to other people that might be considering doing music or want to get into something like this?
Yeah, I think like getting out of your own way, like. Everybody has been so supportive and so receptive, and even if the music was shit and nobody liked it and no one listened to it, the actual act of like allowing yourself to do something that you want to do and you think about constantly and you're passionate about, like it doesn't fucking matter what anyone thinks, and it really like all that matters is how you feel about what you've done with the time that you've been given. And so I wish I had started doing it a lot earlier. I think timing happens for a reason, for sure. I think the lesson I learned from this last EP with the next EP I'm recording is, even though I love this first EP and it's super meaningful to me and I've had so much fun writing it, it's almost like it's coming out now, but it feels so outdated to me already because my thoughts are so much different now than they were in 2019 when I was writing these songs. Yeah. And so I'm most excited next about the fact that the lyrics are more meaningful to how I feel and how I think and just how I would like to share what my focus is in this next EP. So even though I wouldn't change anything and I love Inside Out, I wish I had spent more time trying to come up with authentic lyrics, which all right really is what that is for me, instead of just like, what can I write that's catchy and fun and people are going to
rhymes?
Yeah. So that's the second lesson.
I love that. No, absolutely. So what we're doing for our audience, you're going to notice with our new format is going to be a little bit different. And I'm sorry, by the way, I sound like this. Just, with my luck and the timing of it all. This morning I woke up and I lost my voice. So... but going forward, the first hour of our episodes is going to be really getting to know our guest, learning about them, learning about their project that they're working on, what they're passionate about. And then the second half of the episode is going to be more about, like, we're going to have two different segments, right? And it's going to be some rapid fire fun questions that we're going to ask, some really deep diving, overarching life questions. We're going to dive into the social media of our guest. So really excited to share that for you guys, and looking forward to doing that with you very shortly after this ad for our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Pouch 6 Studios. Creating a podcast is easy. Creating a high-quality podcast is a completely different story. Whether you're just launching your podcast or you want to take your existing podcast to the next level, you need a studio. Instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars on building out a studio, why not rent a studio that will provide you with all the tools you need for a high-quality production podcast? Located in the heart of downtown Austin, Pouch 6 Studios offers high-end, all-in-one production services that include video and photo studio, video editing workstations, and the first ever smart and autonomous podcast studio that eliminates the need to hire videographers, live switchers, or video editors. Sound, light, microphones, every single fixture can be controlled with the tap of a tablet. All you need to do is show up. Utilizing state-of-the-art equipment with all the added benefit of having access to podcast and media gurus, Pouch 6 Studios has everything you need to turn your project into a reality. If you're thinking about starting a podcast or want to take your existing podcast to the next level, then go to pouch6studios.com to learn about their services. use the code HUMANS50. That's HUMANS50 to get 50% off your first booking.
Welcome back.
Yay.
All right. So this segment is, we named it Overarching Life Questions, but who knows? Maybe we're going to rename it. If you guys have any suggestions, just let us know.
Yeah, we'll see.
But it's about an hour long, maybe a little bit less. But we pick anywhere from, 5-10 questions, and we ask our guests about, what they think about what's going on, right? About the world and their viewpoints on things. So what I'd like to do is just have our friend here, Blake, dive in, and let's start asking some questions that we picked out, because I feel like I know,
yeah, you are. What is your platform?
Favorite state?
That's right. Okay, so this one is like not some like life question, but it kind of is like, what was your first job?
Oh, that is a great question. That I was getting paid for?
Yeah. What was your first job? Is your parents
taking the trash out,
right?
Yes, I think the first one was at a frozen yogurt. It was either Outback or a frozen yogurt place. I don't know which one came first.
I was about to ask you if you were scooping ice cream. Frozen yogurt, that's so close.
Yes.
Come on.
It was. I only did it for a summer. I gained like 20 pounds.
Of course.
I was like, I could not do this job, because you had to make like an ice cream cup every day and like post it on their Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't going to throw it out.
Of course, duh.
After I made it.
Yeah.
And that got out of hand pretty quick.
Okay, that's a good first job.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I like that. I have a question that I want to ask.
I got one. Okay.
You got one? Okay.
No.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let me get one in.
My bad.
You told us that you are into mindfulness and daily gratitude. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite book, or do you have some books that you would recommend to our audience? I know you mentioned a couple earlier, but
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to think out of those. The one that I think really shifted my thought process the most was The Celestine Prophecy. It's also kind of like a story format similar to Island, but I think I took action more on those. Like anytime it was advising the main character in the story to like look at his upbringing and look at parent dynamics and how that affected you, and like a lot of work on almost kind of your inner child type situation, I would go through and write down all the questions that they asked the main character, and I would spend like hours journaling and really trying to like figure out where it was effective for me, and just like really deep dived that one a lot.
Who told us about Celestine Prophecy? It sounds really familiar.
No.
Was it Rudy?
I
think Rudy England mentioned it.
It probably was, because you're saying, I was like, Celestine Prophecy. We've been told that book.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Nice.
Okay, we're definitely going to check that out. I don't know. I feel like with just books in general, with mindfulness, and I know I'm asking another one.
I know, bro. Come on.
But like it's tagging on to
You're
that.
good.
Yeah.
You're good.
What is when did you really start getting into it? Was
Yeah.
it like over the last couple of years, or is this something you've been exploring for many years?
No, I think mindfulness in that context, it's been like a year. Like I think when I really had to kind of face like the mental state that I was in the end of 2021 and go into 2022, it was like I was actually really encouraged by the person I was dating at the time to like take a more spiritual outlook on why I was like struggling so hard with the things that I was struggling with. And I think actually before I even got into the mindfulness book specifically, I read Educated by Tara Westover, and it just for some reason like opened me up to just taking it more seriously, even though that book doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to do with mindfulness, but the character in the story I think went through a similar like emotional process that I was going through.
That was the light bulb.
That was the light bulb.
Nice.
For sure.
What was happening, if you mind opening up? What were you like really struggling with?
Yeah, I think it was the first time that I acknowledged that I was depressed, like what I was dealing with was depression, and so many things happened all at the same time. Like I really wasn't loving the team and the environment that I was working on at the time. I'm on an amazing team now. Like that is not the situation that I'm in anymore. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. I was in between living situations because even though I was buying that house, we had to get out of the apartment that we were currently in and couldn't figure out like where to live and didn't really have a closing date. And yeah, it was like, so I just ended up moving home. And then there was kind of like a level of emotional defeat in that. And
moving home to Florida?
To Florida for a month, yeah. Like put all my shit in storage and I went home. And then my cat, who's like literally my entire life, got diagnosed with like a cancerous growth. It was just like, it was like when it rains, it pours. It was so many things that I obviously was like either took up so much of my time or were like extremely deeply emotionally connected, like things that those like my dad was struggling. And then it's like, you know, I love my dad. My dad is like my fucking hero. And so.
How's he doing?
He's doing great, actually. He's responding really well to the medication, and his numbers are going up. And as long as, thankfully, with I think I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think it's CML is the name of it. I always fuck up the abbreviation, but. If you take the medicine, some people respond really well to it, others don't. He's responded really great to it. It hasn't really overwhelmingly affected his lifestyle because it's just a pill that you get to take instead of it being like full chemo and radiation and everything. So yeah, thankfully everything since that moment has drastically improved on all fronts. But in that moment, it was.
And probably because of some of the actions that you took.
Yes.
Changed. You know, obviously, like, you know, your dad is taking the pills, you know, you couldn't do anything about that. But the actions that you took during that depressive moment are kind of what's leading you here.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. I think just learning how to process emotions in general is what I've learned to do from mindfulness. And, like, instead of shoving them down as far as you possibly can and ignoring them, like, feeling your emotions and letting yourself, like, move through what that feeling is and why you're feeling it and how you want to deal with it and being open about it and sharing it and talking about it. And like, just none of that was the way that I was handling anything that I had to deal with in my life that was difficult. And then you hold on to it and you harbor it and it projects in weird ways. And
sometimes in physical ways even, right?
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a complete journey. I like, this past year of my life, I have like never been more grateful for another time period for sure that I've lived so far.
I love that. Oh gosh, it gave me like little goosebumps.
Shivers.
Yeah, shivers. No, but that is amazing. I mean, with that being said, I know we're gonna jump to that question, but one last thing to touch on it is facing your father's mortality in that instance. Did that make you kind of think about your own mortality in a way and start reevaluating like, what am I doing with my life and what do I want to be doing? Because that's what happened to me. Like my mom is dealing with cancer and it's the same thing, right? And like you start thinking about, well, my parents don't have a long time to live.
Yeah.
I don't have a long time to live. I mean, I might die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, am I happy with what I'm doing? And that's kind of what made me to want to like leave my last job and like start doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I'm sure that had like a huge effect on taking the action that I've taken because I guess mortality wise, I personally have never been afraid of my own death. Like, I feel like I have lived such an amazing life and I've been so blessed to have like the family that I do, the friends I do, the experiences I've had. I've done cool shit in my life. I'm like, I feel beyond lucky to have lived what I've lived. And so I'm completely, you know, happy with, you know, whenever it happens, it happens. I don't know what happens after, but but yeah, I'm sure in a subconscious way, it definitely gave me the push I needed to start to live more authentically and do the things I want to do, even if people think it's stupid or cringy or dumb or weird or whatever, because that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think it was Epictetus or it might have been Zeno. Anyway, one of the smart, you know, Greek philosophers from back in the old days, right? He was talking about how like humanity thinks about mortality, about death in a wrong way. They think that it's somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
Death is happening every day, every second that passes by us. Like that's time you can't get back, right? We are dying with every moment. And, you know, thinking about it like that allows us to take a step back and say, like, am I using my time wisely? Am I putting my energy towards things that are actually helping me grow and putting me on my path to my highest self, to my best self, right?
100%.
And that's I don't know. I love thinking about death. Although that sounds really depressive, but
I love
it makes me
thinking
more
about
alive.
when I'm gonna die.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does
agree.
though.
Yeah.
Okay, my question.
Okay.
If you won $100 million tomorrow,
Okay.
what would you do with the money?
And that's after taxes.
I know. I'm like, let me think about the right answer.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, what's your platform?
What would I do? I would buy a house in Austria, in Salzburg. I would build out a massive studio there. I would, love my job, love my team, love my boss. I would quit my job.
Of course.
I would buy Luna, who's my cat, the biggest cat tree that has ever existed on
Hell
the face
yeah.
of the planet. I would give my parents like a massive, massive chunk, if not the majority of it, so they can retire and enjoy themselves. I'd give my sister money just because why I leave her out. So
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, what else would I do? I think I would love to buy like a library.
Like the one
the
that
house?
was in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah, exactly. I
Beauty and
love
the Beast library. Oh my god.
Beauty and the Beast and Alice in Wonderland. If I could like combine those two movies together and make that my life, I think I would do that.
Nice. Okay, so you asked like fucking 13 questions, so I'm gonna have
Okay, go
a
ahead,
couple.
go ahead. Can you see a photo of Luna while he's looking up the
Oh my god,
question?
of course. Now we're talking.
Show
we're
us
gonna-
the cat.
We'll get that photo. We're gonna put it up so that our audience can see it too. I have a cat, so it's like I love. Short hands. We're good. That's on me for putting it there. Well, while you're pulling that up, I'll go get some towels.
Sorry, I do spill everything. I'm not.
Get your shit together, Shaz.
I'm not the. I'm not the one to trust with any coordination. I'll tell you that. Okay, I have a whole photo album of Luna.
Of course. What kind of cat?
She is a white Russian.
Oh.
This was her when she was a little baby,
Oh.
super teeny tiny, and she's a big cuddle monkey.
Those are the best cats.
Yeah, she loves to snuggle. She's a big girl now. We love them thick.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if I can find like kind of a photogenic one. We don't want to put her on blast that hard.
Yeah, the cats are like the best neck pillow.
There we go. This is an accurate picture
Aw, she's so pretty.
of what she looks like all the time.
Aw.
You know,
That's
she's so cute. She's very sassy.
What kind of cat do you have again, Freddie? Flat face?
Persian. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Super
so fluffy.
cute.
Yeah,
Those
they're
cheeks are so fluffy. It's
Yes.
crazy. I'm so fluffy. I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Does your cat like to snuggle?
Oh yeah, she loves it.
We love a snuggle.
I don't let her in the bedroom. I know because I get like really weird about the idea of her like using the litter box and then like walking on my pillows.
Oh,
It makes sense.
Yeah, but hey,
cute.
we do cuddle like every day I come home. 10-15 minutes before I do anything, otherwise she freaks out. Like I
Yeah.
have to cuddle with her on the couch and play with her. Yeah.
Yeah, I do exist.
Yeah.
You're coming into my space.
This is my house.
It's my house.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Next question.
Okay.
Who are 3 people in history, other than like obviously the ladies that you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Who are 3 people in history you admire most and why? Because obviously, like those ladies you mentioned in your family, super crazy, admirable.
Yes.
We already mentioned them, so
That is such an amazing question. I really want to think long and hard about this one. 3 women specifically?
no, anybody,
Oh, okay.
anybody, yeah,
Interesting. Let's think. 3 people in history.
yeah. Genghis Khan. We all like are descendants of Genghis Khan, apparently.
Yeah,
Who is Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan?
Yeah, they say Jang. Everybody,
Yeah, the guy that took over the world.
Oh, what?
like crazy
The
warlord, Mongolian.
You wait,
Girl,
what?
how can
don't
you
know
be
who
so
Genghis
smart?
Khan is?
Not one idea.
Oh no. Okay, so a long time ago, long. I don't know when, what year?
Like 1,500 years ago.
Yeah, like
Okay.
he like that one guy, this warlord, had like the most territory on
Yeah,
Earth.
from China to Europe, he took over.
Wow.
Yeah, he controlled it, and it was like a band of what is Game of Thrones? Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
I did watch Game of Thrones.
So who is the big old dude on the horse?
Oh, the guy Aquaman.
Aquaman. Who's that guy?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa.
Yep.
That tribe, like that's almost kind of like a Genghis Khan. Like they're nomadic, they're horse, and they just go fucking pillage and rape.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not him. I don't
Probably not him.
Oh my God. I don't know because I'm thinking of so many different people for so many different reasons. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, and let's take one word out. Who are 3 people in history you admire and why?
Okay.
Not most. Fuck most.
Yeah.
I guess from like a music standpoint, my greatest admiration for an artist is J. Cole. Like I love J. Cole.
J. Cole.
I love Dreamville. I love his lyrics. I love what he stands for. I love the musicality. I like who he curates. I think just in general, I admire him as an artist a lot. Love him.
And it would be nice to be on one of his albums. J. Cole, tight.
Yeah, I think he has a wife, but if he didn't,
I am 27 and single.
I'm out here. Let's see, who else? I'm trying to think of someone like Grace Jones or Marilyn Monroe, or just women that at a time where it was not acceptable to be a strong, independent woman, didn't give a fuck about what anybody thought, and did what they wanted and embraced their sexuality and embraced the confidence and set the tone. So I would say either or both of them.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And that's a tough question to ask on the spot as well.
Oh, yeah, without thinking about it, right?
Like if someone asked me that, I was like, I don't know, come back to me tomorrow.
I'm going to keep thinking.
Yeah.
And we're going to loop back.
Yeah.
In your opinion, how do you define a good life or a successful life? Like what is your definition of that?
I think one where you prioritize being joyful and like being super present in the process. Like if I can look back and say I've had a successful life, I think it would be that the majority of the moments I spent were in the present moment that I was in. Because especially as someone who like deals with anxiety, like a lot of times that just has to do with not being in the present moment. It's because you're either projecting the past into your present moment or the future into your present moment. So I think if you can be really like connected to the moment you're in, that's
Be here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's tight. This is like a fucking therapy session.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
I love this.
My therapist is going to love that.
Yeah. Okay. What is your biggest failure or one of your biggest failures, and what did you learn from that experience? Do you want to get the tissue box?
You know, I immediately, unfortunately, thought of an incredibly cringy story
Oh, no.
Ooh.
that I'm going to tell because...
Oh, no.
So I was in college. All my cringiest stories come from this time period. And it was my senior year, and I had just started seeing this guy. And I was so excited because he was really hot.
Yeah.
And I like went out one night, and he didn't go out, and he was like, whenever you're like done at the bar, let me know. I'll come like walk you home or whatever. We had like
Very
literally
sweet.
It was so sweet. Nice guy. We had like barely been seeing each other. Okay though. So I had finished up having fun, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like if you want to walk over. So he walks there and he lets me know he's outside, and I come out, and in my brain, I thought that it was going to be like a really great idea to run. Okay. Like maybe not full speed because I can't run that fast, but like like jump into his arms, right? Like, I was like picturing this like beautiful like ABC Family movie moment. Okay.
Yeah, you're picturing some Cinderella moment.
He had no fucking idea what was going on.
No. What time is this?
This is like late. It's
Like 2 a.m., 1 a.m.?
Yeah, it's like at least. So I'm running. He has no idea what's going on. I jump, right? I body bounce.
Oh, no.
Off of this guy. I fall into a puddle.
Oh,
no.
Keep in mind, we are literally in the bar district.
Oh,
okay?
no.
So
You
there's
don't-
people around.
You don't want to be in a puddle.
And a puddle, exactly.
And-
What's in that puddle?
Who knows?
Goddamn.
Ugh. Anyways, fall in this puddle, get up. I'm soaking wet. I'm literally like defeated.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm embarrassed. He's cracking up.
Of course.
And we had to walk. I had to walk like soaking wet all the way back
That's hilarious.
to his house. I had to shower. It was like a whole thing. I was
No.
like, there was like literally like my hair was like hard.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it was not great. And then I read this meme like 6 months ago or something, or not that long. It was probably like 3 months ago. I was on a work trip that was like, your most embarrassing moments, like your biggest failures, people don't remember those. Those are only really like traumatic because of you. I was like, all right, we're going to put this to the fucking test. So
yeah.
I text him, right? We haven't talked in years. And I'm like, hey, random question. Do you remember this one scenario? And he was like, that was the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, this meme is a fucking lie. Lies.
So funny.
So that was my biggest failure.
Yeah. And he's like, I tell all my friends.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, it's a good laugh. That one's a good one.
That is a good
No,
one.
I love that. I love that.
Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Gosh, where do you go from there? I feel like she set the standard so high with that story. Okay, I really like this song. Not this song, this question.
Okay.
You see, my mind is in music right now.
I love it.
You said gratefulness has been a big part of your life as of this past year, especially, right? You journal about it, you write things down. In this moment right now, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here talking to you guys. I think it's been a huge priority for me to like have conversation with people where you're like looking in the eye and you're having like such an open conversation where there's no anxiety, there's no fear, there's just people talking to each other, which is what you guys have built this podcast on. So I'm incredibly honored and grateful that you wanted me to be here.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you. No, we're excited that you're here. That's not the answer I was expecting, but I will take it. I love it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna wrap it up with, how about the one last question, Blake? And then before we get into the rapid Q&A.
Yes.
Oh God, I don't know if my brain works that fast.
No.
Rapid.
It's like, what's your favorite color? It's super easy. What's your favorite beer? It's something
Okay.
like that.
All right.
Let's try a bunch of different things now, to see.
There are several questions like, what things frighten you now? What does a typical day look like? We talked about that. Morning routine, we talked about that.
I like that last question, bro.
What's your morning routine?
No, do you have a philosophy of life?
Where's the last question?
Am I not looking at the same thing?
Okay, that's a good one. Okay. The page break on my computer is a bit different than your iPad. My bad. So that's a good one. Do you have a philosophy of life? What's your biggest piece of advice for living? If a young person came to you asking, what's the most important thing for living a good life, what would you say?
So I think my perspective has been flexible in my life, but I think what I feel the most connected to right now, I personally think that we all decided to be here. Like, I feel like we were souls. We go back to like a connected soul. And I think your time on earth is because you made the distinctive choice as a soul to have this life experience and be here and accomplish something. And everyone's here to have something that they wanted to do and create and be deliberate about. So that is my philosophy on why we're here and what I'm in the process, whether that's music or being present in conversation or some relationship or some moment that hasn't happened yet, or maybe it has, where it was like a deliberate choice to come for that specific experience.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
you
that.
have to experience all the, the highs and lows and every relationship, every experience. Man, who was it? I saw this video on Instagram. She's an actor or actress.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved what she said. She's like, I think about life like, I imagine, especially when I'm feeling really down and I'm not feeling happy and depressed and I'm really going through it.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that, before I was born, before I came to this earth, that the universe, the God deity asked me, hey, if you have the option to experience life as a human in a very fleeting amount of time relative to how long the universe has existed.
Yeah.
Right? But you get to experience love and, happiness and joy and sadness and every emotion out there, right? Would you take it? And she's like, I would absolutely take that.
Yeah.
It's such, you want to experience it. So when she's going through that, she's like, this is a good thing. This is part of living, right? I feel alive right now. So I always go back to that. And it's been, after I watched that, I was like, man, that is such an amazing way of thinking. And I feel like with what you're saying, it relates really well to that.
1,000%. I think like when you go into the feeling of a specific emotion all in and you let it like encompass you, those are definitely the moments that I know that I feel the most alive. For sure.
Absolutely. I love that.
Rapid
fire. So
right.
Uh-oh.
we're going to switch it up a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. This is going to be more like fun, right?
Okay.
Am I doing odds? Are you doing evens, odds? What are we doing?
Yeah, let's do that. You start.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Oh, it's my mom's favorite color.
Oh, does she have a reason why?
I don't know if she has a reason. It's not like it's the color of royalty. Okay. But no, it's like it's lavender. She just loves lavender.
Love that.
Purple is color of royalty. Did you know how they used to make the purple dye?
Somebody told me. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, silkworms, right?
No, not silkworms. So they would get the like these snails, the specific snails, and they would break their shells, right? And they would dry them, and it would take thousands of them to dye just the the cape for the king. Is that called the cape? It's not a cape, right? The kings don't wear capes, but
like
it is a cape. It's a cape, yeah.
It's not a Batman cape, it's a king cape.
Just blame the fact that I'm a foreigner.
Yeah.
But purple is the color of royalty.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
What's your favorite food?
Fried rice.
Fried rice.
Fried
Like
rice.
just by itself or like with eggs and like veggies
So I
in
haven't
there?
been eating eggs, but fried rice with like peas, carrots, onions, green onions.
Pineapple fried rice.
Pineapple?
Come on, girl.
I am a pineapple hoe. I love some pineapple.
Come on.
See,
Okay.
It's making me hungry.
I know.
I told you I haven't eaten.
Are you a night out or a night in person? I mean, you got a kitty cat, but you're also a party animal, so.
I do love to socialize. Like, I don't know. It depends on my mood. I'm also a Gemini, so.
All over the place.
No, but you can't hold me down.
Yeah. So both.
So both. I think like what makes me feel the best in my heart is a night in where I'm doing something like I have a couple friends over and we're like playing games and having like a good wholesome time. Mm-hmm. But I also love to party.
Yeah.
Like I love to party. I'm good at it.
Just, I've had a lot of practice at UF.
Thanks, Florida.
So there's two ways we can go about this next question. So I don't know which one would be fun. So I'll give you both and then you decide which one you want to answer. How does that sound?
Sure.
Okay, so the first version of it, if you could travel back in time or travel to the future, you get to decide whichever age period and you're just visiting just to see what it looks like, right? And you come back after a day. No one can hurt you or anything like that. Which one would it be? Or the second version of that, you have to actually live in either in the future or in the past. You leave everything behind. So
I would definitely play the first game.
Yeah, I want to go back.
I think
my music is just taking off.
I'm in a good spot.
Yeah.
If I could go for a day, I am super intrigued by Egyptian culture. So I think, like, if I had full autonomy to like go and be like an empress or whatever in Egypt and have like a sphinx and like sit on a throne.
Have you gotten
I
into?
can see you as an empress.
A goddess.
Like I think that would be my choice.
Have you gotten into like Graham Hancock and like Ancient Apocalypse and any of these so Graham Hancock isn't a scientist, he's just like a journalist.
Okay.
But like he goes into like the scientific community and he's got all these relationships with scientists. And there's like these scientists, fucking crazy people who talk about all the alignments to the stars in the pyramids. Have you gone down those rabbit holes?
I have not, but I would love to. I'm like obsessed with space and I love the moon. Like love the moon. So I will definitely write down what you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll send it to you.
We'll send you some stuff.
We have a couple suggestions for sure. Okay.
First celebrity crush. Ryan Gosling.
Don't give her ideas.
No, I'm just kidding.
Let her answer.
First celebrity crush I would probably say was John Mayer.
Ooh,
John
that's
Mayer?
a good one.
I love John Mayer.
He didn't even know John Mayer played guitar, bro.
I knew him as
He's like,
the watch
watch it.
guy. I was like, he has a great collection of Rolex Daytonas. I was like, this is great. So like I watched videos of him like
I
with
hope he
them.
sees that.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, no, he plays
Oh, he-
guitar pretty good, bro.
He is the best. Yeah, he's literally the best.
Dude, like him, like the way that he can like just talk with the guitar, and
sure.
and like that what's that song?
What is the one that one's on Continuum? I can't think of it.
Oh my God, how do you play all that on one guitar?
He's absolutely crazy. It's so good. It's so good. I've seen him live. Oh my God. After I graduated from college, I went to my concert, his concert with my mom. My mom took me as like my graduation gift. And I literally, shit you not, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room came on. That was like halfway through the concert. I sobbed uncontrollably for probably like an hour straight, to the point where like the people next to my mom and I were like, is she okay?
Yeah, she's
Do we
having a
need-
spiritual moment right
Yeah,
now.
I was like out of body for sure. And every time I've seen one of his concerts, I've cried. I love him.
But okay, so that's the thing. Like whenever we talk about musicians like embodying and things like that, there's so few people who can do to the level that he can do, that
yeah.
embodying like just the music and making you
sure.
feel it. It's the same thing as like Prince. Prince was one of those guys who's like, he pulls you in and he takes you on a fucking journey.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, if John Mayer comes to Austin, we're going.
Come on,
Hell
baby,
yeah.
we got
Yeah.
it.
He does. He comes back a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited because now, I got to see him.
Well, now you
I'll
have
ask
to
him
see
about
it.
his Rolexes. Are you into Harry Potter at all?
I have never seen Harry
Okay.
Potter.
I kind of want to skip this because I've watched Harry Potter, but I never read the books, never been
Yeah.
into it. But I feel like it's such a common thing.
I am embarrassed. People shame me for it, and I need to try.
Okay, so
Let's
do
go
you
ahead and
have a-
skip that.
Yeah, no, skip it, but let's morph it. Do you have a different question that's on that same?
I'll just ask the next one, and we'll think of for the
Okay,
last.
no.
question.
Okay, did you ever get into? What's that vampire show?
But Twilight.
Did you ever get into Twilight?
I did watch Twilight.
Oh,
Okay, Team
Team
Vampire.
Jacob or-
Team Jacob or Team.
Wolverine. Fuck Edward.
Wolverine, Edward.
Damn it, we're not good at this rapid
Wolf.
fire Q&A.
Hey, we're figuring it out.
Wolf, yeah. I think they were wolves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolf, exactly. So, Wolf or
Vampire. Team Jacob, Edward.
Vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would suck to have to change every moon, the full moon.
Yeah, I do love the moon.
You destroy your clothes.
Yeah, you destroy your clothes. I think like the vampires are cold-bodied and the wolves are warm-bodied, and I overheat really easily.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
think that. I think that's where my thought process is.
That makes sense, but they sparkle. They're like diamonds. They're beautiful. They smell amazing. What's
yeah.
wrong with a vampire?
Really fast.
Just
They
give
like are immortal. They live forever.
Yeah, very.
Which is scary to some people. But
Right.
some people are like, I don't want to live forever.
Yeah, I might.
Yeah.
She might be a vampire.
Okay, so I'm odd.
Let me ask this one.
Okay. Fine.
Is your bed made right now?
Ooh.
I do make my bed. I open all my blinds. I really love natural light. It's part of the morning routine.
Nice. Yeah. Heck yeah. Like
Yeah.
Dr. Huberman is like, get sunlight on your eyes for like,
Yep.
30
Yes.
minutes, whatever.
Yeah,
For
so that's like once I learned about Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab. I don't know if you listen to him. Oh, amazing!
Huberman
Best
Lab
podcast,
podcast.
available
Oh, okay, so
right
really?
now. Even better than Humans Nextdoor.
No.
No, it's really really good. But I recommend. But he
now.
talks about just like the science behind of like living, right? How to get the most out of your body and just
Cool.
be healthy.
Yeah, I love that.
Who's the psychologist?
Jordan Peterson?
Jordan Peterson. He talks about just making your bed.
Yeah.
And like
It's a
the
small-
importance of it.
Yeah.
It's true.
But you start off with the win in the morning
Yeah.
and like sets you up for success.
And you come home like from a shitty day.
know.
Like at least you come home to a nice clean bed, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there's one downside to it.
What?
I read a headline. So, the headline is based on a study that
Yeah.
says people that make their beds have higher rate of bed bugs compared to people like, I guess bed bugs don't like, cleanly, messy beds. They like clean beds.
Interesting.
So if you want to reduce your rate of bed bugs,
Just keep on showering. You'll be fine.
Like knock on wood, I've never dealt with bed bugs. I have a question though. Do you have a fitted sheet or do you not have a fitted, or like what's the sheet that's not fitted.
Oh,
So there's
over
a fitted
it?
and then and the top
the
sheet.
overtop.
I
yeah.
gave up. I don't have the overtop
You have a
sheet.
top sheet?
So thank you for asking me that question. Let me tell you, I slept in high school often without sheets.
Okay.
Wait,
It was super weird.
In general?
I know, and it wasn't like
Like
a
right on the mattress?
Yeah. Yep. And my wife is always like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Okay.
She would come in and she's like, "I don't know if I can date you if you don't have a sheet on your bed." I'm like,
That's hilarious.
okay, fine. I'll clean my room. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, it's very stupid. But yeah, no,
That's a
I've
commitment.
I've
That
been
is like the ultimate commitment. Right there.
I've been married for a long time, and she has definitely gotten me to be a bit more grown up. And we have a fitted sheet and a top sheet.
All right.
And she's also like, she's like cold blooded, and so she has lots of covers.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a duvet cover
Okay, very nice.
to make up for the fact that I have a top sheet.
I don't have a top sheet either.
Okay.
I personally feel like
I
it's
don't know.
unnecessary.
It gets in the way.
It's in the way.
Yeah.
It does. It's like wearing a long sleeve shirt and then a sweater and then a jacket, and things kind of get ruffled
Yeah.
up. It's
Yeah.
like, this is stupid. Why are we
It
doing
also just
this?
like ends up at the end. I also like am doing aerobics in my sleep most of the time, like all sorts of. We wake
Yeah.
up in weird places, so
Yeah.
yeah, just gets in the way.
Like, so all of your previous boyfriends who have slept in your bed have come out with like, you know,
Oh, for sure.
punches in the face.
When I was a kid and my sister used to sleep in the same bed as me, I would literally like launch her off the bed. Straight up.
Nice.
I love it. Okay.
Who is your hero?
Oh,
We already asked that.
Did
though.
we?
Well, in the previous.
We've asked many things around that. Okay, so okay. Change it up. Favorite city in the U.S. other than Austin?
favorite city in the U.S. other than Austin? San Diego, La Jolla.
San Diego's pretty tight.
San Diego is just beautiful.
California, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is in California, yeah.
Best weather in
Best
Cali
weather
or in the
they've
United
got.
States.
Great acai bowls.
Ooh.
Sunshine, very expensive though, but it's a vibe. It's like the beach town that I wanted to live in growing up. Although I did love Delray, but
So maybe in your 30s or 40s, you'll make enough money as a musician, you can buy a little place in San Diego.
I think I'm gonna hop right over to Europe. I think ideally that's
Well, you
Same.
said I was gonna say Arkansas. That's not in Europe.
Austria.
Australia.
I did. I lived in Salzburg for a summer, and that was like the most transformative summer of
Like
my life.
study abroad.
I did study abroad
Yeah.
there, yeah. And it was just so peaceful. Like everything closed at 8 p.m. I like walked a mile to school, like in the Swiss Alps. It was
Damn.
like so
Was it beautiful?
So beautiful.
So you can
beautiful.
tell your kids, I walked a mile to school up a mountain
Yeah.
in the snow.
Yeah. And I love
So you
Debbie's.
better listen to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually where Mozart is from too.
Really?
So it was like
Yeah.
lots of classical piano.
That's
I
tight.
love that.
Yeah.
The final question for this segment is, what secret about the universe would you want to learn the most?
What's secret about the universe?
If you could have an answer to it.
The universe, I guess, really just kind of means like any question at all.
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah.
What happens when we die?
Yeah. That'd be tight.
Where do we go?
So my oldest son, Josiah, he was like probably 3.5, something like that. I think that our younger boy, Keegan, was born. But he's still a super small toddler, and he started speaking pretty young.
That's cool.
Yeah, like he's very vocal. And I think that my wife told me, I think that the story goes that she walked in on him and he was like talking or something, playing somehow, and she asked him a question, and he was like, oh, I was just talking to the people from where we came or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm totally butchering this because she hasn't told me the story in a long time, but there was something about like whenever he was super young, he was like, yeah, like from where we came.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and it was like, how's a little like super toddler? What was he thinking?
That's so cool.
But almost like what you talked about, like we came from somewhere.
Yeah.
We chose to be here.
Yeah.
And we go back to source.
Yeah, can I get some confirmation?
right. Oh man.
That would be scary.
Yes.
My theory is the game is unplugged and you just wake up. You're like, oh shoot, that was a.
Wow, that would be pretty wild.
It's like in the Rick and Morty. They were like playing the game you plug in, right? Anyway, I love that. Those were honestly great answers.
Oh, I'm glad.
You've done way better than I would have done. Or Blake.
Yeah.
So
I have
big
faith
shout
in
out.
all of us.
Yeah. Okay. And last section with this, or the segment, a quick dive into your social media, right? So I know you said you've had your social media for the music part for a while, but not a ton of posts on there relatively, since it's still new.
Yes.
I want to start off by really talking about this right here. So the release party, which was December 10th of 2022.
It was.
A lot of people came out.
Yes, way more than I was like ready for or prepared for. I thought it was going to be like 60 people, and then the day of it went up to like 110. So
Damn.
yeah, it was so fucking cool. That was one of my favorite days I've literally lived on this earth so far. I think for me, I really wanted to set the intention with it that everyone could come and be themselves and express themselves. I wanted everyone to dress like crazy and just be super creative with it. And everyone that was there was very meaningful to me. Everyone that performed had some massive part in this journey that I went on with it. The first person to perform was Dan, who I mentioned earlier that I met at that open mic night, and he was the saxophonist. And then next was Mark, who is a jazz guitarist here. He's incredibly funny. He's super smart. He's very talented. So I was super happy to see him perform. Drayshawn, I actually met because he was working on cabinets in my house, and we started talking about music and pulled up his Spotify, and it was fucking awesome. So that was just like a funny way to meet someone, and he crushed it and was very good with his set, got everyone super engaged. And then it ended on Soul Emotion, who's the only band I've performed with live with like a full set in Austin previously, and they're so awesome. And Chris, who's in that band, has been so helpful in just teaching me like how to work with a distributor and where to put your music and how to, you know, like approach the whole act of, okay, now the song is done, what's next? So that night was by far incredible, for sure. Yeah,
I love that. I was super disappointed that we couldn't make it.
Oh, I know.
I was in Dallas. You know, he had family stuff going on, so
I
it
got
was just,
kids.
Yeah,
it's
of
tough.
course.
Kids responsibilities.
Little guys.
No, makes sense. Well, we love that. So we're going to finish off just with, typically we ask, our last question is like, hey, if you want to give a piece of wisdom, advice, and something like that. But we've already asked you 2 variations of that question. So instead, I will ask you this. If people want to check you out, check out your music, follow you on social media, how can they do so?
Yes, Shaz Vibin on Instagram. If you type in Shaz on Spotify, Apple Music, literally any platform, I may not pop up immediately, but if you put Shaz Come On Over or Shaz Deadly Baby or any of the names of the songs, it'll be easier to find it that way.
And Shaz Vibin is Vibin.
Yeah,
Shaz Vibin.
We vibin'.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Definitely check her out. This was an episode we've been looking forward to a ton just because of how talented she is. And I'm telling you, I've listened to these songs so many times. You're going to love them. Check her out. And next week, she's releasing the song, which when you listen to this, it's going to be this week. So she's going to release her 3rd song, which we're looking forward to. And we got a glimpse of it in this episode.
So cool.
So just want to say thank you one more time for joining us, coming on, opening up, sharing your story. Would love to have you back, maybe in 6 months or a year, just to see how far the journey has come and like all the new things that you've done. Make sure everyone follow her and also follow us on Humans Nextdoor podcast, right? Which is going to be Humans Nextdoor on Instagram, Twitter, and all the other social media accounts. This year is going to be a little bit different with video, and a huge shout out to our sponsors, Pouch 6 Studios. This episode is brought to you by them. They've done a ton of work. They've helped us out with all of this, they're not only providing us with the studio itself, they're also helping us with the actual, they're the geniuses
gurus,
behind media, right? They know how to market with social media, the content. They have built out an amazing network of professionals so that if I need help with someone building out a website, they know who to direct it to. If I need someone to help me with the photography. Accounting, even, yes. It's someone that specializes in accounting for media, right? They've been able to help us out with all of it. So highly recommend you guys check them out. And if you guys want to use our code HUMANS50 for 50% off your first booking, you can do so. We're going to include all the details in our episode description. If you have any questions, give us a shout. But thank you guys so much.
Peace.
Ooh.
Peace.
Good job.
Hey, so fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
You've been listening to Humans Nextdoor. Thanks for checking out the show, and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. If you have an idea or topic for the show, maybe you want to be on the show and you're interested in working with Freddie and Blake, visit us at humansnextdoor.com. See you next time on Humans Next Door.